Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jeremy and Andrew Show. And now, here are your hosts, Jeremy and Andrew.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jeremy. This is Andrew. This is the Jeremy and Andrew Show. Last week, we talked about our tribute episode to Patrice O'Neal.
R.I.P. Did you have a good harassment day?
Yes, I did. It was full of harassment.
Hopefully you got your dick sucked. Maybe at your job that probably wouldn't be such a good thing.
No.
You probably don't come across too many good clients that are going to the rehab, I imagine.
Like once in a blue moon, like I was picking this 20-something girl up from one of the prisons. Classy girl. She gave birth in prison.
Yeah, we covered that one a little bit, I think, on the first episode.
Different.
Oh, this is a different person.
Yes.
Oh, my Lord.
She kept it.
Oh, she kept the baby. Oh, so nice of her.
But, good-looking girl. Had some nice looking mom milkers.
Oh, there you go. Mm-hmm. Some good prison tats.
No.
That's not all.
No, she avoided the prison tats.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. So she did that too. Nice. She was a natural beauty coming at you. Want to say thank you to everybody. Like, this has been great.
Yeah.
We've been getting a lot of love and support, which has been great.
Like, all things considered, we're like on the subfloor of podcasting.
For sure.
And all things considered, this has exceeded my expectations.
Yeah. So thank you guys out there for watching. I'm going to say it one more time, because the last couple times I've said that we've upgraded things, the sound was still terrible. I'm going to give a shout out to my brother Mike. He's hooked us up. We have new sound equipment. We have new video equipment, and I think it's going to be much, much better for everybody out there. So thank you for bearing with us. So yeah, shout out to Mike G out there.
Same autism though.
Still the same autism we're dealing with. That has not been upgraded. So I mean, a lot's happened in the past few weeks. We've been kind of moving really quickly. Like, I can't believe we've already been doing the show for over a month now.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
One of the things that we kind of glossed over. Do you watch Legion of Skanks at all? Like, do you watch?
Like every once in a while.
Yeah.
For somebody who's a comedian, I don't seek out much comedy.
Right, we've covered that before. But you're familiar with the Legion of Skanks. You know, obviously, Louis J. Gomez, he's kind of like the overseer of Gas Digital. So Legion of Skanks, they have a huge, I guess, kind of like a comedy festival every single year.
Skankfest.
Yeah, Skankfest. So Skankfest, they had it in Vegas. I think it's pretty much in Vegas every year.
Yeah.
It's growing every year. So, I mean, you'll see, like, if you go on YouTube, a bunch of comics shot their specials right there at Gas Digital. Obviously, Louis J. Gomez was one of them. Jordan Jansen was another one.
One of my buddies from high school actually got booked. I don't think this year, last year.
Oh, at Legion?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Who was this? Skankfest?
He's one of the best comics in Philadelphia. Shout out to my homie, Sidney Gant.
Oh, Sidney Gant's the best, dude. He's, and then shout out to their podcast, Chakra Poppers. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And Joel was just on there from Soul Joel's, which is where we do our open mic. So there's, all these roads are kind of crossing over.
Yeah, there are two comics that came out of the class of '98 Pottstown High School. Sidney, who's light years better than I am, than me. It's a steep drop off.
Sidney Gant, did you know that he was like into underground fighting? His mom was a big underground street fighter. Did you know about all that?
Yeah,
because you've been in Pottstown your whole life. So,
yeah.
I mean, how did you know about? Like, did you hear about it through the grapevine?
No.
Or was it like...
I didn't hear about it until Sidney was on somebody else's podcast.
Okay, was that the Are You Garbage one?
Probably.
Okay, yeah, I watched Are You Garbage. Shout out to the Are You Garbage guys. Also, a couple Philly people, which is awesome.
Like Sidney has not changed since I've known him. He's the same dude.
Yeah. He seems like a good dude.
Yeah, but he was always that, bombastic, larger than life.
He'll beat your ass though.
Oh yeah,
Don't fuck around.
I'm more scared of his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it would make sense that he would marry a woman like that because his mom was a big street fighter. Like apparently she was bringing home a lot of money doing the underground fights in Pottstown, which I didn't know that was a thing. Is that still a thing?
I didn't know it was a thing. I stayed in the white part of Pottstown.
Yeah, it's like it's Fight Club. It was Pottstown Fight Club, which is pretty crazy.
Like we shared a lunch table in high school.
Okay.
Like for some reason, Sydney and his crew tolerated me coming over and sitting there, and we would basically hold court.
That's cool.
Talking about girls, busting balls.
That's awesome.
Like all the girls used to come over to the table. I never knew why until years later. It was not because of me.
That's cool though. I mean, maybe you were a good wingman. I could see that. Or it could scare the ladies away too. I would imagine.
Yeah.
Or it's like, hey, this guy's crazy. You're gonna be safe with me. Let's.
Sydney probably had to work a little harder when I was around. Not today. He had to work that hard.
He appreciated the challenge, probably.
And that is where I found my love of comedy, and I was good at it. Like years later, when I found out Sydney was doing it, like I immediately wanted to do it too.
Yeah.
It just took me till I was 38.
Yeah, I think when you're riffing with friends like that, there's so many times where you have that belly laugh that like it's that uncontrollable laughter. And it's like, there's been times where me and my friends, we have that, we're cracking up, we're coming up with the funniest stuff. And then you're like, man, if only we like recorded this or had it on a podcast or just write some of the stuff down or take an audio of it. Like,
that's how it was with me and Bobby at the Brewer show. Like, I don't remember anything I said. I just knew I was making Bobby laugh. And, and it was just doing that kept the autistic pit bulls in my head from telling me there's a lot of people.
Yeah, so it's like, that's funny when you're riffing with people, but then it's like, all right, how do we take this and kind of give it to the world, right? Like, how do I even take something that's funny in my living room and turn it into like a bit, right? Like it's on stage, relaying it to strangers and still make it funny. Like, what is your writing process? Do you have a writing process or?
I don't physically write.
Really?
I just have a few thoughts in my head that I just
Okay.
And if it's a good premise, I'll remember it, I'll forget it, I'll remember it, I'll forget it.
Okay.
Eventually, when I'm ready, I'll put some work in and turn it into a bit.
Wow. That's interesting because I feel like for me, it's like if I find something that's funny, I have to write it down right away. Like otherwise I lose it. And there's been so many times where I'm like in bed and I think of something and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna remember it, and I never remember it. I mean, maybe something comes back to me later, but I'm never like, oh yeah, that's what I thought of last night. It just doesn't happen. Like if I lose it, I feel like I lose it.
When I physically write, I feel like I'm more pretentious. It's more wordy. I'm never happy with the punchline.
Okay.
So I have to like just act things out in my head.
Yeah.
And just bring it to the stage and do my trial and error that way.
Yeah, I feel like once you do it, once you put it on the stage, it kind of cements itself in your mind, and then you also kind of know whether it was good or not and how much it needs to be tweaked. But for me, I feel like I need to write it all down, because if I don't, then I'm either gonna forget the bit, or it's gonna be a bit that like could have had potential that I just never continued to like take it to that next level. Because if I go through my notes on my phone, I mean, it's like it's pages and pages and pages of stuff in there. Like there's no way. Maybe when I was younger, I could have kept track and remembered some stuff, but it's like no way.
If I get a concussion, I'm fucked. Like a major concussion, all my bits just go out the window.
Yeah, you should probably write some stuff down.
I probably should. I'm not as prolific of a writer as I probably should be because of the way I do things.
Right.
But when I bring something to the stage, like 9 times out of 10, at least in my mind, it's pretty close to being a finished bit. Autism.
But you also don't record yourself, do you? Video
Very
or audio?
rarely.
See, that seems so difficult to me because if I'm on stage and I have that bit, even if I ran it in my head over and over and over again, and I know exactly how I want to say it and do it, I still need to go back and I feel like I need to reference it somehow. Hear the laughs. That's another thing. When I'm on stage, I get a little bit deaf to some of the laughter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hear it and I know where things are popping, but there's been so many times where I'm like, man, that set did not go the way I wanted to. And then I rewatch it and I'm like, oh wow, that joke actually hit more than I thought it was. Thought it did because, I hear the laughter.
The reason why I don't is for years I've never liked my voice on tape.
Nobody likes their voice though. That's so rare. Nobody likes the way their voice sounds.
But I have there we go. Yeah.
Do you watch these shows though and hear yourself, right?
Yeah,
so.
it's the autism coming through. I hate to harp on autism, but
well, now you have a go-to.
Uh-huh.
You never had that before.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't imagine going my entire life being like, oh, I know that I'm not expressing myself the way I want to, or I know that I'm not feeling the way that getting my emotions across properly, but then not having a word for it. But now you do, and you can pretty much say yep, that's my autism.
Yeah,
kind of good.
I know I should, but there's
Yeah, we got to throw up those graphs again. Let's throw up the autism graphs. Those are pretty convincing, I would say.
Last open mic, I just simply forgot. I forgot to do it. I know you have your stand there, which you let everybody use.
Mm-hmm.
I just forgot.
Yeah, I put a tripod in the back of the room, and anybody can use it. I don't care. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass to put the phone in there. I just ask that people don't go up before me and have their phone in there, right before I'm about to record my set, because then I'm like, that's happened before, and then I don't even get to record my set. But yeah, even if you just record the audio, because that's how I started. I started recording the audio initially, and then I turned to video. And if you go to my, Andrew G. Comedy, AndrewG.Comedy on YouTube, you'll see sets that I probably shouldn't have on there because it's open mic.
Yeah.
Some of it's good, some of it's shit. You'll see comics, they put out clips. Everything is a reel. Everything's 30 seconds, 50 seconds, maybe a couple minutes. Mm-hmm. And it's their best bits, right? And that's what everybody sees. I'm starting to move towards that a little bit because you're just getting more exposure that way. Because I know on my phone, I'm just fucking scrolling all day.
That's how I watch porn now.
Yeah, that's not a bad way to go about it.
Just 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds.
Yeah, if you have ADD, but you want to bust a nut, redgift.com. It's nothing but quick hitter shorts. Motherless.com. They have a whole section.
I'm gonna have to write
that down. Is YouTube gonna let us suggest all these porno sites?
You might not want to punt, the images up.
Listen, we're experts, and we're here to give you our knowledge. Uh-huh. And one of the things that we're experts in is 100% pornography.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a married man, so there's a lot of porn being watched by me. And you're a single man, so there's a lot of porn.
Yeah, my best friend is a cat. I need porn.
Yeah, you fucking definitely need porn. When the only pussy in your house is named, what's the name?
Oh, yeah. Kitty, Jade Lynn Marie, meow, 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 per H. Oh, why am I saying H? I've said my last name, Hupshire.
There you go. I'm glad you said the whole name because I needed a sip of my whiskey here. But one of the things, so we were talking about Legion of Skanks and Skankfest. Joe DeRosa, he's a Philly comic. You know, local guy. I think he even went to maybe Temple University.
I think he's from like Valley Forge.
Yeah, local dude. Little bit of, he made the news. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
When it comes to Skankfest this year, so I don't really know. I'm not familiar with this lady's work, Nikki. So speaking of porn, this is a perfect transition. I got my porn shirt on. We're good to go. It's all coming together very nicely here.
Yes.
As they say. This is the church. This is the steeple. Something about then your hands make a vagina. So he went off stage. The whole thing was basically, you know, at Skankfest, they bring ladies on stage. They kind of like have them do something that it's like, you know, they want to award them. I don't know what it is. It's an award of some sort. So they pick like the best one. And one of these ladies is a trans lady that's been in pornography and apparently can suck her own cock.
Okay.
For lack of a better word.
It's a lady with a surprise and flexibility.
Super flexible lady. It's very flexible for what used to be a man. But so Joe DeRosa is already familiar with this person. Like says, I've seen your videos and da da da. And they're like, all right, listen, we need to see you suck your own cock, right? Sorry, I should say, lady penis. We want to see you suck your own lady penis. I got to be politically correct here, right? So they leave the stage. The whole thing is Joe's supposed to get her hard enough to be able to come back to stage and show everybody that this is possible, right? They're gone for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Easy. Come back. Sit down. Nikki doesn't have her cock out. She says, well, one of us came. So Joe DeRosa got his jollies off. So he had his trans awakening. And it's... so he was just in Philly very recently, and he has this picture on Instagram of him with this big snake around his neck. So I had to take the opportunity to put in the comments, is that Nikki's cock around your neck? And I don't think it went over so well. But yeah, I just, you know, what do you think of all this? Like, it's, I mean, I don't know. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, you said Nikki's cock, and Joe said Andrew's blocked.
Yeah. I don't think he blocked me. It was one of those sponsored ads. I don't think he sees that stuff as much. I did say, when he was making tacos though, he had a picture of like the you know, the stand and stuff shelled tacos. I did say on that post, I thought you weren't into tacos anymore. That may have got me banned.
Yeah.
You know, if you're an up and coming comic, it's probably not the best thing to just shit on comics that are well known.
Yeah.
And doing well for themselves.
Yeah, you are not allowed to get old El Paso anymore. Oh shoot! All the transsexual stuff.
It's comedy though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good stuff. I'm glad it's happening. It's kind of like when the president that you don't want to get elected gets elected, but you know that Saturday Night Live is going to be better for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
One of those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's happening, and comedians by their nature are degenerates.
That's true. Yeah, we have a lot of issues. I think that's what makes us think a little bit differently. You know, pretty much every comic has some sort of trauma or abuse or PTSD or something in their life that made them the way they are.
Yeah.
And yours is just autism.
Yeah.
Although I'm sure you were smacked around a little bit.
A little bit. And like anybody who like seemingly normal, all that means is they hide it well.
That's a good point. Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, I loved his Netflix special.
Yeah, he was really good. He was really good in that. That is a good point because, yeah, it's like an overcompensation, right? It's like oh yeah, I'm a super normal whatever, and then it's like, yeah, you're probably one of the most fucked up people there are. I always kind of say that about clean comics. I mean, I get it. There's a skill. That's a skill to be writing clean comedy. But I do always feel like they're probably the most fucked up people.
I had a child actor in my car when I was an Uber driver, who worked on the Jim Gaffigan show, and said that Jim was a little cranky the day he was working on that show. It was like cursing his head off.
Really?
Yeah,
Probably got burned by his Hot Pocket.
probably.
Hot Pocket. Gaffigan, he's been getting murdered lately. He's been getting roasted. There's a lot of people. He was on Joe Rogan. I mean, he got torn apart just from his political standpoint and where he lies, and he just doesn't seem to be very knowledgeable, and he just seems to be. See, that's the thing now. Is like it's so hard to be a comic because the world of politics has gotten so out of control that everything is so polarizing. Like the political jokes, the racial jokes, like all of that stuff, it's splitting your audience pretty much all the time now. It's so hard to...
Like, I don't need to know what the political stance of my favorite dick joke comedian is.
You don't, but people will take offense to shit anymore.
I don't need to know, I just don't need to know. I don't,
Yeah, it's like, do I need to know about the personal life of the person that's giving me my, French fries at the drive-thru?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like, they got a job to do. Same thing with a comic. Are they making you laugh or are they not making you laugh?
Like some comics, since Trump's been elected, every comic thinks they're a political comedian. And
a little bit.
85% of them are garbage, even good comics.
See, that's all right. I do struggle a little bit because I do stay informed and I watch a lot of the news and independent journalists, and that's actually a shout out right here to Luke Rutkowski of the We Are Change podcast. That's another person that I get a lot of good information from. But when you're watching all this stuff and I feel like I'm informed about certain things, if I try to go up and make a joke about it, maybe 10% of the audience even know what the fuck I'm talking about. And that's a challenge. I mean, I got a good joke about Matthew Perry right now.
Yeah.
And whether or not he was interviewing to become the next chef to the Obamas. And a lot of people don't get it. And it's like even my own brother didn't even know about the whole Obama chef thing, and I'm like, dude, how do you not know about it? But then I talked to somebody else; they didn't even know about it, and it's hard for me to do a joke that is a good joke, but if people don't know about it, then it's not going to resonate.
Yeah, I don't do political humor because I'm not good at it.
Yeah,
Constantly have to be writing new material.
That's the problem.
You can't be doing a Gorbachev joke in 2023.
Yeah.
It has to be very topical.
It's true.
And I feel like good topical political comics, they bash both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure that I could bash my own side as good as I could the other. It's
true. You have to stay bipartisan to a certain extent and be in between and play both sides because there's funny in both sides.
Yeah.
But no matter what, like you said, if you're bashing one side even maybe a little bit more, people know what side you're on most of the time.
But if you read between the lines a little bit or go on a comic's Twitter.
But nobody gave a shit before.
Yeah, nobody did give it.
Now it's so fucking polarizing. It's a shame. It's a shame that we've gotten to that point where it's we can't just fucking laugh. If it's funny, it's funny. I mean, and the Trump impressions, some of them are really fucking good and funny. They're good. But it is tough. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to alienate your crowd.
Yeah. I alienate my crowd enough without going into politics. I kind of want my crowd to hate me equally.
Yeah, that's true. You're pretty dark and dirty,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, people are. That's the thing. Like, I do get pretty dark and controversial with a lot of my jokes, but I tend to I try to get the audience on my side before I get controversial. You don't seem to do that as much. You kind of come out of the gate like fucking pretty much swinging. Like you don't really care. You're not like, okay, let me get them on my side. You're just like, you just go at. You go
Yeah.
full force, and the people that love you love you.
Yeah.
But the people that don't really feel that sort of comedy, like they're not on your side yet, and you kind of push them away a little bit. But that's kind of your style. Though.
Yeah, it's just how things worked out. You know, I am like a cruise missile without any guidance. You know, I don't have like the lights. You know, get them on my side joke.
Right. Yeah, I'm always looking at that when I look at my order of my set, like making sure that I'm doing some kind of light, soft, get them on my side, let them know a little bit about me first, and then hit them with the Matthew Perry joke, the Sound of Freedom jokes, the whatever it might be, the John Wayne Gacy jokes, and then, but that's the other thing that is tough is like, I had a really good joke that I did this past open mic. It's an advent calendar joke. You can go check it out on my socials and stuff.
I get pretty excited about the holidays because that's the time of the year when the advent calendars come out. You know what I mean? That's a fat guy's dream. Every day you open the door, you get a piece of chocolate up to December or up to Christmas, right? You'll see that they're starting to come out with some crazy ones. Like, now you get ones with beer, and you can get ones with wine and liquor and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. I think they should make one and sponsor it by Pfizer. Every day you get a new pharmaceutical. Most of the time it's just, blood pressure and anxiety, maybe throw in a booster. And every now and again they throw you in a loop. You wake up, you look at the date, you didn't open the last 3 doors. Shit, you gotta take all those 3 doors. At one point you wake up and it's already New Year's, you don't have to worry about Christmas at all, right?
But like the second I wrote it, I knew it was going to be like one of those really good jokes. But it's an advent calendar joke. I can only do that for a very small portion of the year. Mm-hmm. I'm actually excited to be coming up on the next year because when I started writing comedy, it was, back in like June, and I had a lot of it was Pride Month, and I had a lot of jokes like that. I'm like, man, I can't wait to do these jokes again. But like those jokes that you can do all year round, it doesn't really matter. I think those are important to have.
Yeah.
And I don't have. I'm trying to stack those up more and more.
There's one joke that I do, which is for me it's pretty tame, but the current events make it people draw back. My
Okay.
joke about Muslim porn.
Yes.
Like people think, they draw back. It's like, oh shit, what's he gonna say? But it's a pretty tame joke.
It is pretty tame, and it's a funny. I mean, it's very funny. It's a great little. It's a quick hitter.
Yeah.
And it's very funny. In the past couple times you've done it, people have pretty much laughed.
Yeah.
I haven't really noticed people be like. But when you get the ooh and the like, that's a reaction. I'll take it any day.
The misdirection is that it's a pretty tame joke.
It's tame in the beginning. It gets a little bit. You go a little bit in depth with when you start talking about the Mia Khalifa and the hat and stuff. But but it's good now. It's
I don't even curse.
That's the other thing is like dirty comedy, and we talked a little bit about it on the Crumb show because I talked about how I can be controversial and a little bit of a dirty comic. Like what's a dirty joke, right? And it's like you could talk about. You could talk about sex all day. You could talk about drugs all day. You could talk about all these things, but you don't actually have to say sex and drugs. Like you can beat around the bush, so to speak.
Yeah.
And that almost can make it that much funnier. And kids can be in the audience and they laugh because their parents are laughing, right? But that's that's tough to do.
Yeah, that's an art form all in itself, and you know, I'm just a blunt object with my comedy. I just want to hit you in the face.
I like the what did you say? Something about a missile that you don't really know what you're like a homing missile, but you don't really know.
Yeah,
you don't really have
no
a home.
guidance system.
A homing system without a home, or a homing missile without a home. Yeah, that actually does describe your comedy pretty well, actually.
It doesn't help that even when I'm like planning to do maybe a tame set, sometimes I'll start my set with, "How the fuck is everybody doing?"
Well, that's like, you know, I've done a couple sets where I've tried to do some dirty stuff in the beginning, and if I don't get the response, then like, it's not even a joke, but I'm just like, fuck it, like, and then people that gets a laugh because it's like, all right, I've made the announcement, like, all right, I'm gonna try to be clean, and then it's like, fuck it, like this sucks.
You're acknowledging the bomb.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, but also it's like with my clean stuff, some of it's okay, but yeah, some of it's corny. It's corny stuff, and it's kind of, you know, it would be good for maybe like if I was doing a church show or something like that.
Yeah,
but,
you're less than a year in, so you're gonna have that.
Yeah, I'm very early on in this whole thing. So
my problem is even at, like 99% of the jokes where I don't curse are still dirty.
Yeah, that does make it tough because you have to navigate to it anyway. So even if it's above a teenager's head or somebody in the audience that's a little bit younger's head, like you're cursing when you get there at some point, or even if you're not, it's so dirty that it's like everybody in the audience is probably I don't know. You do a good job of crowd work though too. I feel like you,
I'm getting
a little
there.
bit of that. I haven't approached that much at all. I want to.
It took me years to build up the courage to do a little bit of crowd work. I do it during my porn bit.
Yeah.
And I will break the fourth wall. Like I always try to go after the husband or the wife to make them uncomfortable.
Right. And that's funny in its own right, just to watch somebody squeal in their chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have a few bits that are a little bit. I mean, most of my stuff is fairly dirty, I would say. But yeah, I mean, it's fun to do the crowd work because, like, I have written crowd work, but I haven't done any crowd work, and I feel like it's hard to actually write for crowd work. You almost just have to start talking to people and see what happens. I don't know. I got to give it a shot, and it's tough to do it at an open mic too.
Yeah. And you got plenty of time. You don't need to do crowd work right now unless you want to.
I want to try to break into it because I feel like I'm pretty good at improv. Like I've done improv in the past in high school and everything, and I feel like that would be fun. And I sit there and I watch stand up on the spot. Jeremiah Watkins, we're giving you a fucking shout out because on Monday nights, that's one of the best fucking comedy shows you can watch. It's once a month, stand up on the spot. Comes out before Kill Tony, so you can check it out.
And he has a awesome name,
Jeremiah.
Even to IAH at the end. That's still my brother. And
there you go.
There have been a few jokes that I've come up with. I was like, ooh, that's even bad for me.
Those are the best ones, though.
Yeah, I think I might have told you the one.
You probably did at some point.
Yeah.
I was probably drunk.
Probably. But I don't mind pushing limits. I don't mind, if the crowd thinks I'm a heel.
No, that's a good thing. Yeah, it's like, you need those guys in wrestling, right? Like we've talked about that before. I mean, that's entertaining for people.
Yeah, like I'm not trying to walk the room, but if it happens and they don't like me, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, no, and that's good. I think that's, you need to have those comics because a lot of times after the show on the car ride home, whether they loved you or they hated you, like you're a conversation probably.
Yeah.
Like, what did you think of Jeremy? Like, what did you think of that guy with the autism? Right? What did you think of that guy with the Muslim joke? No, yeah, because I think you stand out in people's minds either way. So that's a good thing. Like the groans, the laughs, the oohs, the ahs. I like all that stuff. I just don't like the silence. If you can hear somebody clearing their throat at the back of the room, that's when it's bad. Or you hear somebody, opening a candy wrapper or turning the page of their book. That's when it's usually downhill.
Yeah, there's maybe like 2 or 3 jokes that I've written is like, ooh, that's even bad for me.
But those probably end up being pretty fun. You could try to tame them down a little bit too, I guess. Have you done that with any of your material? Have you ever been like, if you have that thought like, oh, this is a little bit even too dark for me, because I've even had that stuff. I do it anyway because I bomb with it. Sound of Freedom joke.
Like I only curse when I need to. Like I don't go out of my way to curse.
That's a fucking great motherfucking thing, dude.
I see what you did there, you asshole.
You see what I did there, you bastard.
If it's too dirty, it's like maybe I'll do it once.
Yeah.
Just to see.
You have to do it. You have to at least put it out there, especially at the open mics. Like you have to just throw it out there. All right, we've gone into a lot today already, and this is flying by. We're already like over half hour in here. Why don't we end this with a Would You Rather?
Okay.
We haven't done Would You Rather at all. There's a lot of podcasts out there. They're doing, peeves, or they're doing, are you garbage shit. Like, I think a Would You Rather might be kind of fun. Maybe something a little bit different. So, a couple of these I've just stolen right from Reddit. So you might be familiar with them. Other ones, I made up on my own here. So the first one we have, if you had to live in a cage for the rest of your life, would you rather the bars be horizontal or vertical?
I don't know. What would be the difference? Just the way the light comes
For
in?
me, I think it would be more of like your daily activities. Like I think if you have it vertical, it would be more difficult for you to like maybe do sit-ups or do pull-ups, which I'm never going to do a pull-up in my life. But I think for like maybe exercise activity, like you would want them to be horizontal so that you can do those sort of things. Like vertical seems tough. You can't even really climb vertical. That's my thinking behind it, but I'm sure people have all sorts of reasons why they'd want it one way or the other. But that's my thinking.
Yeah, vertical. You have like mini stripper poles.
Yeah, kind of. But I mean, I guess depending on how close. I mean, the bars would be so close together, it would just be like
mini, like.
Yeah, we're not
midget stripper.
We're
poles.
not mini at all. So,
No.
You'd have like a little mouse doing a little striptease for you.
Yeah.
You'd give him a little piece of cheese. You're like, this is my rations for the week, but can you shake your ass for me?
Can I have like a third option, like no bars at all? Can I have like curtains over my bars?
You could have. Here's your third option. The bars are passing through your body.
No.
Okay, so there you go. That was ruled out.
I guess like normal vertical, and I don't know why.
But that's interesting. Is like a jail cell. If they are vertical bars, there has to be something to that. Like they don't want vertical has to be more of a deterrent than horizontal, because horizontal you can climb. Like you could just climb them and fuck around, and maybe I want to climb up and call the guard over and shit on his head that day or something. Like I could do that. Vertical bars would make that tough.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on to the next one. This one resonated with me, and I wrote it down, and then you read it out loud a little bit ago, and I forgot that I even had this on here. Would you rather be very beautiful and have diarrhea forever, or very ugly and safe from diarrhea for the rest of your life?
Like, is it constant diarrhea, or like, do I get a break?
It's fairly constant diarrhea. I mean, you can still live your life, but like every time you go to the bathroom, it's diarrhea, and there's times throughout the day where like you have to fucking run to the bathroom, otherwise it'll run down your legs.
Okay, that's already my life when my sugar gets out of whack. But I'm good looking.
This was my thought, kind of. My thought was, I'm already ugly and I already have diarrhea all the fucking time. So I might as well be beautiful with diarrhea all the fucking time. I'll take it. Like,
Yes. Like at least if I'm good looking, I can find a girl that'll eat my ass.
that's true. And that's an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Yes.
Hey-o!
Hello.
Write that down, people. All right, we're going to move on to the next one. Would you rather be... This is one I actually wrote, because this shit freaks me out. Would you rather be lost in space or buried alive? And lost in space in the sense that, like, you're in your suit and you're just fucking floating and drifting into the abyss. You don't even have a protein bar with you.
They both like make my asshole quiver.
Yeah, they do.
Like
They really do.
Like, can I take like a piece of my spacesuit off and like end my suffering?
Well, you could. Yeah, I mean, that could be your choice. You could just fucking take your helmet off and end it. That would be actually, that's probably a good point. Underground, there you really can't do much, can you?
No, like they both just, I'm a little claustrophobic.
Yeah.
Like that scene from Kill Bill where she's like...
In the, doing the 6-inch
Yeah.
punch.
Yeah, that... I pretty much almost need a paper bag to watch that.
Really? That freaks you out? It gives you anxiety when you watch it?
No, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but
I get that way with heights. Like, if I see something, like, if it's like a cliff or something's on the edge of the building, like, I feel it in my hand, the bottom of my feet feel like tingly. It's
heights
fucking
too.
weird.
I think heights are a little worse, but I guess if I had to pick, like, leave me lost in space. Like, once like I lose hope, I'll take my helmet off and my body will boil.
Yeah, at least if you're lost in space too, you can write like a really good song, like ground control to Major Tom. Right? Like you can. When you're underground, there's really not. There's
no underground.
There's
songs.
no good songs about being buried underground. Not that I can think of, at least.
Yeah, I'm very afraid of heights, but I'm an aviation geek.
See, I don't like heights either, but yeah, I've flown a lot. Have you flown a lot? Is that why you're an aviation geek?
No, I just I love airplane. I love airplanes.
I love lamp.
Yeah. I just love everything about aviation.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think of Sully, Captain Sully?
Oh, that
He's a badass.
that's a badass motherfucker
Yeah,
right there.
yeah, for sure. I mean, he's like an aviation guy. Like he's not only was a pilot, but he was like well studied. Like it was his life. Like well versed.
Yeah.
Like that's the guy's plane you want to be on. You don't want to be the guy. You don't want to be on the guy's plane that's like, you know, yeah, I kind of wanted to be a pilot, but you know, it just kind of ended up that way. Yeah, it's not really my thing. It's a little bit scary to be on that plane.
But like you don't want to be on like the 3 a.m. Spirit airline.
Yeah.
That pilot.
That's similar to being like, if you ever have to go to the ER at like 3 a.m. Dude, those fucking night nurses, they don't want to deal with anybody or anything. Or paperwork, for that matter. Like, they that's a whole other story. But,
Like I'd like to think that like an aviation license is a license to learn, to constantly better yourself. But yeah, I like to think like every pilot
I would hope so.
that flies to friendly skies is like that.
They're not. Unfortunately, probably a lot of them are like me, drinking whiskey. All right, we got one more would you rather here. Would you rather have a cell phone charger that needs to be in a perfect position to charge your phone, or a charger that charges really slow, like it needs 6 hours to have a full charge on it?
I'll take the 6 hours. I can, you know, I can plan my day accordingly. It's kind of like were you ever into RC cars growing up?
You know what? The RC cars that I had growing up were like the Python that spit water out, like little things like that. Nothing major, nothing like BattleBot style. Or
like when you're first getting into it, like the kit, they give you these super slow chargers that take all day.
Oh, okay.
To charge your batteries, and you just plan your day around it accordingly.
Interesting.
So it's kind of like that, you know, but like a jiggly cord. I've had that before.
That's a pain in the ass.
It is enraging.
It's really fucking enraging. And it's just a matter of time until that wire doesn't work at all. Because you have it and you're like, okay, all I got to do is bend it this way and then put my phone on top of it. And it's like, bloop, and it starts charging. And then maybe like the 5th or 6th day of doing that, it stops. And then you're like, okay, now that doesn't, now you bend it the other way. And then, bloop, okay, now that works. And it's just bit by bit that charger just stops working.
Yeah.
But I'd be fucked though, like, there's times where if I don't charge my phone at night, like I'm totally fucked. Like, and this would be one of those times. Like if it needed 6 hours to charge, like there's no way that I'd be able to make that work if I didn't charge it overnight. I'd be fucked that day. I just wouldn't have a phone. Like I'd have to just plug it in and take it. Yeah, Teslas are like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Think if you had an electric car where it's like, you need that time to charge it up. Otherwise, you're fucked. And you're starting to see these videos in like California and stuff where it's midnight or 11 o'clock at night or midnight, whatever, and there's a bunch of cars charging. Then there's a fucking line just out the ass of people waiting to get in the charging line. And that's the thing. I imagine that the 6-hour phone charge is kind of like that with a Tesla, or any electric car for that matter. And that's why the electric cars seem cool, but at the same time, I'm like, fuck that. Like that would just never work.
I feel like they're just still not ready for prime time. I am not totally against electric vehicles. Like I said, I'm into RCs.
Right.
I've had a lot of enjoyment in temp scale. They're just still not ready.
They're proving it. Well, the grid's not ready either.
Yeah.
It's like it's great to say, okay, we want to like advance everybody to this next technology, but then to not upgrade the grid, the power grid, the transformers, the output, whatever you need to do. It's just not there yet. Yeah. But it's growing. I guess more solar would help. I guess a little bit too. So we went a little bit long this episode, but it was fun because we had Thanksgiving and we had our Patrice O'Neill episode, and now we're heading quickly into fucking Christmas.
Fucking Christmas.
Which, if you feel that way, check out my Advent calendar joke on andrewg.comedy, Instagram, YouTube. Also, still waiting for some questions to roll in. We're just getting a bunch of fucking solicitations. If you don't start sending in questions, then we just fucking will nix the segment. But if you do want to send in some questions, andrewgcomedy3@gmail.com. You can send them in there. And
please do not send Andrew dick pics. Do not.
I have plenty of them. They're all from Jeremy, but I have enough. I don't think my computer can take much more. What do you got going on?
Not much. Like by the time this comes out.
The Dirty Show is happening. That's happening already. Jeremy's going to be in the Dirty Show at Soul Joel's, which is pretty cool. Hopefully they roll out more of those, because by the time this comes out, it would have already happened. I'm sure we're going to talk about how well it went.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. But yeah, other than that, let them know where to find you.
Just all my socials are Jeremy Hubsher, and my last name is spelled Hubsher.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Love you guys. We will catch you next week. Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching The Jeremy and Andrew Show. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. New show every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern.